Now, as we know that in last class, we derived the formula for kinetic energy. Is it yes or no, guys? Kinetic energy, we have been derived the formula. That is what we have been made. Kinetic energy is equals to what? Which is equals to half into
half mv square.
V square. This is what we have been found. So now, hope you all understand how to derive this formula easily, because this is most important derivations. So one of the most important derivations. So kindly everybody, you have to learn this derivation. So now today we will make from this, we'll make some conclusions from this. That is what, if you'll notice it here, forget about this 1 by 2. So 1 by 2 is what actually it is constant. Yes. So now let us remove that constant and we think about the remaining factors. So if you'll notice it here, these kinetic energy, if you notice it, let me take first the mass and kinetic energy. Now you tell me, kinetic energy and mass, how they are present? They are directly proportional to each other or inversely proportional to each other?
Directly proportional.
Directly proportional to each other. That is what you have to remember. So because both are in multiplication, if you notice it, it is not the inverse factor. So kinetic energy is directly proportional to mass. So that is what, please all of you keep heading. Some important conclusions we are going to make from the formula. So what is that important conclusions and how it is useful for us, we will see. So important conclusions. Now from the first conclusion, what we can make? So kinetic energy is directly proportional to what, guys? Directly proportional to mass of the body. That is what you have to remember. So this is the first conclusion which I will make. And what is the second conclusion? Anybody can say second conclusion? Kinetic energy is directly proportional to what?
V square.
Kinetic energy is directly proportional to square of velocity. That is what the second conclusion which I can make from the formula. Means if mass is increases, kinetic energy is increases. If velocity is increases, kinetic energy is also increases. But here if you notice it, velocity, how many times it needs to increase? If velocity is square, 2 times, understanding? So the square of velocity, then we can say kinetic energy is increases 1 time. For example, let me take now initial kinetic energy is, for example, if we'll take, if the mass of the body is doubled in this case, because both are same, mass of the body is double. For example, initially you have 1 kg. Now mass will become double, 2 kg. Then kinetic energy also will become what, guys? Initial kinetic energy is 10 joules. Then double, what will become, 20 joules it will become. That is what. So that is the first statement which you need to remember. So kinetic energy is directly proportional to mass. If mass of the body will become double, m will become 2m, then kinetic energy also will become what, guys? Kinetic energy also will become what? It will also will get. Then the kinetic energy also will become double. That is what you have to remember. If suppose, if mass will become m by 2, then what will become kinetic energy? M will become m by 2, then what will become? Kinetic energy also become. M is become m by 2, then we can say kinetic energy also will become what? Half, or kinetic energy divided by 2. That is what the relation between the first conclusion which will make from the kinetic energy formula. So kinetic energy is equals to half mv square. So kinetic energy is directly proportional to mass. If mass increases, kinetic energy increases. If mass decreases, kinetic energy decreases. That is the first conclusion which we can make. Is it okay, guys? Are those clear, Manish? Now, please all of you write that point also. So we can say that you can write kinetic energy is directly proportional to mass, and you can write the statement down. Please write, if the mass of a body is doubled, if the mass of the body is doubled, if the mass of the body is doubled, if the mass of the body is doubled, its kinetic energy also gets doubled. Its kinetic energy is also gets doubled. Its kinetic energy is also gets doubled. And if the mass of the body is halved, what do you mean by halved? Maitreyan, what do you mean by halved? Sai?
1 by 2.
Half. Yeah, Shruti, call to that Manya, Samaya, and Asrita. And girls, Mahalakshmi is missing. Check it. Alana also. That is. Mukesh Gordek always late. Right. If the mass of the body is halved, mass of the body is halved. Its kinetic energy also gets halved. Its kinetic energy also gets halved. But by this time, something is must be constant. Who is that? Anybody? Anybody can say? Something must be changed. We are talking about the
1
mass.
by
Some
2.
other factor must be constant. Who is that?
1 by 2.
1 by 2.
Provided its velocity remains the constant. Understand, Delmukil? Velocity remains the constant. So when we are talking about the mass, velocity what? Velocity of the body remains constant. Suppose when we are talking about the velocity, then who will be constant, Pradosh? Who will be constant? Mass of remains constant. So when we are talking about the one factor, remaining factor should be constant. If you are talking about this another factor, the first factor should be constant. That is what? So bracket you should write velocity remains constant. Then it will be complete sentence. Are you clear this concept? Any doubt? So we can say mass increases 2 times, means mass become double, kinetic energy become double. Mass become half, kinetic energy become half. But at what conditions? Remains the velocity of the body is same or constant. That is the first thing. Next, second point, second conclusion. So what is the second conclusion? Kinetic energy is directly proportional to square of velocity. Do you understand, everybody? What is this? Kinetic energy is directly proportional to square of velocity. Yes or no? So now, let us consider now, for example, your kinetic energy is initial case. Your kinetic energy is for a certain velocity. Your initial case, kinetic energy is something for the some velocity. Now, velocity will become double. Velocity will become double means what, Elmokel? 2v whole square.
2v whole square.
2v whole square. So means in the sense of what is becoming 4v square.
4v square.
So now means in the sense of if velocity will become double, kinetic energy is increasing by how many times?
4 times.
4 times. Once again, I will say, for example, let me imagine. Now, initial kinetic energy, which is the formula is what? Maitreyan, what is the initial kinetic energy formula? Recall to absent is fastly. What is the kinetic energy?
Half MA square.
Half
Yes.
into
So,
m
that is
square.
what? So let me take case 1. So now this is the case 1. Understand, Maitreyan? So case 1, what is the formula? Half mv square. This is the formula. Is it okay? Yes. I was informed to Jayvarsni also. Sai, you also are not understanding, ask me. So let me imagine. It's okay, Jayvarsni. Jayvarsni, this is you also don't know. Listen carefully. This is very important. Okay. Now, let me imagine this is initial case. The velocity is v. What is the initial case of velocity? Case 1. Case 1. Velocity of the body is v. Is it okay, everybody? Yes or no? Then what is the kinetic energy? Tell me. What is the kinetic energy? Kinetic energy Ke1 is equals to half into mass into v square. Is it okay, guys? Yes, that is. So now this is what, let me imagine equation 1. Now mass is remains constant. Who is constant here, guys? Mass remains constant. Now velocity will become what? Double. Yes or no, guys? Velocity will become double. Now v become what? 2v. We become 2v. Now in this case you tell me. So the new kinetic energy is equals to what will become? Half into m into understanding 2v whole square. Yes or no? Which is equals to, we can say half into m into 2 square means what? 4v square. Is it yes or no, guys? Yes or no? So now please don't get cancelled half and 4. Understanding? Sir, 2 1 ja 2 2 ja. Yes, Monish, you'll do that is only. Yes? Don't do that. Okay? Now, keep the 4 front and you can write this one as half mv square. Is it right or wrong?
Yes, sir.
Is it right or wrong? So now we know that half mv square, which is equals to what? Half mv square, which is equal
Ke1.
K.
Kinetic 1.
Yes or no, guys? Ke1. So now, what is the like gravitation chapter? So now, what is the new kinetic energy? If velocity become double, the change in kinetic energy is increased by how many times?
4 times.
4 times. That is what I want to say. Do you understand, everybody? So, if velocity of the body become double, velocity of the body is become double, kinetic energy becomes how many times? Kinetic energy is increases by Kinetic energy is
Four
increased by how
times.
many times? 4 times. Are you clear? Any doubt? Anybody? Dylan, have you understand, Dylan? Shakti? That is. Now, let me take again second case. Now, this is the third case. Now, let's consider velocity of the body is V and mass is what? Mass is remains constant. Now, in this case, what is the kinetic energy, Elmokel? Kinetic energy is equals to what? Half
Half
into
mv square.
m into v square. Let imagine this is equation 1. Okay. Next, if velocity become halved, what do you mean by halved, guys? Mukesh, got it? Velocity become halved means in the sense of what? V by 2. Now you can see what is the new kinetic energy. Everybody should tell me. New kinetic energy is what? Half into m into v by 2 whole square. Is it S. Jayavarsini? That is. So now if you will notice it, so 1 by 2 into m into, this is what will become? V
V
square
square
by
by 4.
Understanding, which is equals to what? Half into m into v square by 4. Now, don't get again, try to make this LCM or something, multiplication 4 2s are 8. What do I have to do? This one, can I write it as a 1 by 2 into m into, this one can I write as a 1 by 4 into v square? Is it right or wrong? Everybody?
Sir.
Yes, guys. Now, 1 by 4 keep friend. 1 by 4 keep friend. And you can take this one, I can write half into mv square. So we know half mv square is equals to what? Half mv square is equals to what? Ke1. So now new kinetic energy, which is equals to what, Laksha? 1 by 4 times of Ke1. So now you tell me, if velocity will become half, kinetic energy decreases by what?
1 by 4 times.
Yes, sir, guys? That is what I want to say. Don't say 1 by 4 times. 4 times. 4 times decreases. Means in the sense of 1 by 4 times of K1, Ke1. Understand, Ra? Mukesh? So this is what. So from this we can make one statement. What is the statement? Anybody can say? Darun? Maitreyan? What is the statement we can make? So one is, if the velocity of the body is doubled, its kinetic energy becomes 4 times. And if the velocity of your body is halved, then its kinetic energy becomes what, guys? 1/4. That is what you have to write it. So now solve it neatly and write the statement. First you write second factor. What is the second conclusion we can make it, guys? Second conclusion, right? If the velocity of a body is doubled, you understand, Sai, this one? This is very important because based upon this numerical they will ask you. It is similar to the gravitation also. Yes or no? Their mass increases. Yes or no? Distance increases. We have been solved. Similar to that it is. Okay. Do it fast. Now write the statement and later you can solve. So totally how many cases? 2 cases I told you. Yes, Elmokel, clear?
Sir.
Yeah, right. Statement. If the velocity of a body is doubled, then kinetic energy increases by how many times? Monish?
4 times.
4 times. Velocity of the body is doubled, its kinetic energy becomes 4 times. 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 And if the velocity of a body is halved, if the velocity of the body is halved, if the velocity of the body is halved, then its kinetic energy becomes how many times, guys? If kinetic energy becomes 1/4, kinetic energy becomes 1/4. Now, from this, if you are enough smart, let me see out of 13, out of 12, let me see. Now, suppose I will ask you to increase the kinetic energy. Now, you tell me, which is the best factor for you people? Either mass or velocity. Yes?
Velocity, sir.
Velocity. Others, will you accept it? At least in chart, you can say. Which factor is responsible, guys? Velocity. Can you able to say? Yes or no? Yes, that is what.
Yes,
Remember, because why? Mass will increases by what? Mass will become double, kinetic energy also will become double. But velocity will become double, kinetic energy increases how many times? Four times. Yes or no? So lot of change, more changes we used to get. So that is why we are going to change the factor called as velocity. Understanding that? So that is what everybody need to write it. Please write. It is obvious that doubling the velocity has greater effect on the kinetic energy of a body, than doubling its mass. Than doubling its mass. Is it okay, guys? Clear, everybody? So now you solve this both, everyone. Let me see who will solve. You understand or not? Can I need to explain once again this one? Yes, Sai, Shruti. Understand, Shruti? Laksha?
Understood, sir.
Solve
Yes,
it.
sir.
Yeah, solve your own. To solve your own, both should be there. See, single statement, saying statement is very easy, and I don't want to leave it also, because after that, if you read the statement, you should be able to understand your own. That is what I want. So make it everything clear. You have to solve it. Then if you have a proof, you people no need to by heart the sentence also. You can understand and you can able to find. Now I hope you have a stamina to find the relations in an exam anywhere. Yes or no, guys? How the factors will increases or decreases, because class 10th electricity chapter, so many factors will come like this. So by the time it is easy for you people to identify if you know the practical way of solving. Writing statements is very easy, but if you are proving that this many times it is increases, this many times it is decreases, then we can make it. Okay. Mukesh, one last point, I will say it. Remaining all of you solve this both. Once it is finished, you tell me. Last point, Mukesh. It is obvious that doubling the velocity has a greater effect on the kinetic energy, has a greater effect on the kinetic energy of a body than doubling its mass. Now, my question, let me see, as we know that, is it completed? Everybody, have you solved it or not? Can I need to show once again? Now, you tell me. Now, for example, I will take two bodies. One is heavy body. Let me take this heavy truck, or let me take a car or something. Now, this is the first body. Okay, guys, and car. Let me take the second body. Now, which is bigger body? Tell me, which is bigger body? Which is
Truck,
bigger
sir.
body? Truck. It is having greater mass, and this is having less mass. Now, this body is moving with the more velocity. This body is moving with the less velocity. Okay, guys. Now you tell me which body will possess more kinetic energy, which body will possess less kinetic energy.
Sir, truck.
Yes,
Sir, truck only.
that is.
Truck.
Understand, everybody? So a body, that is what I want to say. A kinetic energy of a body depends on its mass and as well as velocity. So heavy bodies moving with high velocities. Heavy bodies moving with the high velocity. See, mass is greater and velocity is also greater. Then this body will possess more kinetic energy than the body which is slow moving bodies of small mass. That is what you have to remember. So if mass of the body is more and as well as velocity of the body is more, then its kinetic energy is also, they can do more work than the slow moving bodies of small mass. That is what you have to remember. That is the reason why a blacksmith, You might be notice it. I told you. So you might be noticed while blacksmith or else wood blocks. Yesterday I told you break the wooden logs with the help of axe. So you tell me, you people will hit the axe at this height or you will hit the back. You suppose the person, if I'll take the Mukesh Kati to break this wooden block. So what will happen? Every time he will lift the axe back and he will hit forcefully. Yes or no, guys? Yes.
Yes, sir.
So he's hitting only this distance or he will come from the back? Yes or no? Every time he will go back and he will come and will hit. Yes, Ra? Yes. That is
Yes, sir.
what.
Yes, sir.
So why he is moving back? That is why he is moving back, because if you'll use that, if you'll go back, then what is happening? It will travel more longer distance. So that what is happening? More work done will be done, so that it will be more easily we can break it. That is why you can take a blacksmith who will make this knives and all. You can see they will use a heavier hammer. Understanding? Have you noticed it? This iron construction times and all, they will use a very, very heavy hammer. Yes or no, guys? More big hammer they will use. Why they are using very big hammer? It is having very more weight, because why?
Kinetic energy.
Understanding, we can increase the kinetic energy by increasing the mass. So we can find it by lifting it heavy hammer, then its velocity is also increases and its mass is also greater, so that it will exert greater, it will do more work done compared to the normal small hammer with the even greater velocity also. So mass is more and velocity is more, it will do more work done. That is why we are always a goldsmith, or else you can see this iron, that working with iron constructions and all, they will use a big hammers because of to increase the kinetic energy. So that is what we used to call it as a kinetic energy, and what is the important conclusions which you need to make from the kinetic energy. So the last kinetic energy we can make, what is the conclusion we can make? Kinetic energy is directly proportional to mass and directly proportional to square of velocity. That is what you people need to remember. So now if you'll understand this, then numericals will solve with no issues. Then what is the next type of energy, guys? There is somebody called to Tamil already.
Potential energy.
Potential energy. So potential energy is already similar thing which we already studied in the before class. That is what? Working against to gravity. Is it yes or no, guys? Working against to gravity. So if you are working against to the gravity, as we know, work done is equals to what? Force into displacement. When we are working against to the gravity, then what is the work done formula? Manish? Force is equals to mass into acceleration and h. So this is what the formula for working against the gravity, and this is the formula for working under work done by a body. That is what. So that is what you need to remember. So now, so you have understand. So now we will see what do you mean by potential energy, and same way, what is the types of potential energy? Kinetic energy does not have any types, but potential energy is having types. So now what is the types and how to find the formula? Let us see now. So now if you notice it, for example, you are all having terrace. Now let me imagine this is what your terrace. So now, for example, you have been taken a small toy car and you have been kept here. So now you tell me, it is not on the surface of the ground. It is above from the ground, which is working against to the gravity. Now you tell me, at this position, it is possessing some energy. What is that energy? Due to the position, I told you already. Due to the position, the energy possessed by a body, what we used to call? Due to the position, the energy possessed by a body, what we used to call, guys?
Potential energy.
See, kinetic energy due to the motion. Potential energy due to position, the energy possessed by a body, we used to call it as potential energy. So now, if the toy car is placed on the terrace of your house, then it is possessing which energy? It is little bit height elevations from the ground. So at this height, it is possessing which energy, guys? It is possessing potential energy. Yes or no, Sai? Yes. So now, if we'll take for example, if we'll go to the garage, car garage, or else water service or everything, they will lift the car on a hydraulic, and on the hydraulic lift, they will keep the car on the surface at it. So here they will place the car and they will lift like this, and down they will do the water service and all. So now at this situation, the energy possessed by a body on the surface of the this one hydraulic, then what is the energy possessed by a body, guys? That is what we
Potential
call as
energy.
potential.
Potential energy.
Due to the position, the energy acquired by a body is only ways to called as what? One is ways to called as potential energy. Understand?
Potential energy.
So now let us understand what is this potential energy and how this potential energy will be working. So now, for example, let me take now, I will show you one picture so all of you understand. So you all having wall clocks in our home, or else your hand clock. Do you have a hand clock in our home? Everybody?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Now, if
Yes,
you
sir.
notice it might be damaged or broken. You might be see next time if you see inside it is be having like a wounded spring, which now I will show you exactly. So that is what the spring which is present inside our hand clock. Now you can notice it here. This is what we used to call as winded spring. Can you able to see this, guys? Winded. Understanding means once the spring is wound up, this is what it will be appears. Now, suddenly if we leave it, then it will try to jump away from us and it will come to its original stage. Yes or Nora? Yes.
Sir.
So actually our hand clock, the needles, what it is working like hours needle, minutes needle, and the seconds needle, because of this continuous compression and means winding and unwinding of the spring only, it is able to fluctuate the needles. Now, let us imagine, sir, this spring I am not understanding. Let us understanding this spring. Your pen and all, you are having springs. Is it yes or no, Darun, Sai? Yes, guys. So you might be noticing if you are pressing, let me imagine this is what the spring. Now, if you are keep on applying the pressure here, now this will become compressed. Is it yes, Ra? Please respond. This is the original spring.
Yes, sir.
If you keep on applying, the force, it will start compressing. Now, suddenly if you leave, then what will happen, guys? You tell me. Suddenly if you leave, what will happen? The spring will
Come to original position.
Yes, it will try to acquire its original position. By simply it won't come. How it will be? It will jump away from us and it will come back to the original position. Yes or no, guys? Yes,
Yes, sir.
yes. So when we are pressing, when we are applying the pressure here, compressing, when we are applying compression, so it is becoming a winding. So during that, it is the energy possessed by a body. Because of compression, the energy possessed by a body is only used to call it as what, guys? Potential energy. Now, suddenly if we release, the spring will jump. Jump in the sense of what? It will turns into motion. So that due to the motion, what is the energy possessed by it? Shruti? Due to the motion, what is the energy possessed by
Kinetic
it?
energy.
Kinetic energy means in the sense of suddenly how the kinetic energy is coming. This potential energy during compression is converting into which energy, guys? It is converting into kinetic energy during the motion. So this is what we used to call as potential energy. For example, let me take this unwinding spring also. Now, if we take the spring is compressed. Compressed means in the sense of what? Winding spring. So now, in this case, the energy possessed by this body, which energy will possess, guys? In this case, potential energy will possess. Now, when it will turns into unwinding, then the potential energy will be converting into which energy? The same energy will be converting into which energy, guys? Kinetic energy. So that is what you have to remember. Same way, let us take other examples. You might be heard about the caterpillars. Have you know caterpillars, which is used to use
Sir.
hit the monkeys or birds and all? People use certain kind of people. Yes or no, guys? Yes, Ra. Or else you might be know about this bow, arrow and bows. Yes or no? So now if you notice it, let me take this picture. Now try to understand this picture. Let me see how many of you understand. So now you will see, guys, in this picture, when I keep the stone, this is what we used to cut as a caterpillar. Okay, guys? Caterpillar if you take. So now here I kept a stone. You might be noticing. Jayavashni, can you able to see? Jayavashni, Sai. This is what the
Yes,
stone
sir.
which I kept here. Now, if I'll stress this rubber, then what is happening? If I'll stress more, the stone will go more distance. If I'll stress less, if the stone will go less distance. You might be experiencing this. Yes or no, guys?
Yes, sir.
Now you tell me, when I pressed this, when I will be structured this rubber string with a stone, then the energy possessed in this string, the stone, which energy, guys? The energy possessed in this is what?
Potential energy.
Energy. Understanding? Now, when I will release my hand, then what is happening? The stone will keep on going very forcefully towards the front. Means in the sense of, at this situation, which energy will be converting? The potential
Kinetic
energy
energy.
converting into kinetic energy. Here also you can see, by stretching we are feeling which energy? By stretching we are feeling which energy? Potential energy.
Potential energy.
Now if we take arrow also, you all people know arrow. So arrow will be like this. Let me imagine arrow. Now it will be tied with some kind of a stretchable material. Is it yes or no, guys? Yes. Now you keep the arrow here, and you people will stretch this bow, stretch this spring like this. Is it yes, Almukil, Darun? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Now, if you stretch more, the arrow will go more distance. If you stretch less, the arrow will go less distance. That is what you need to do. Even when you are a kids, used to buy this one in even the shops also. Yes or no? So now here also tell me, if I stretch it back, the string will be stretched back. So what is the energy possessed by it here? It is possessed
Potential energy.
Potential energy.
when I will release the string, then the arrow will start moving forward. So in this case, what is the energy which is possessed by it? It is the potential energy is converting into which energy?
Kinetic energy.
Kinetic energy. That is what. Now, if you have a rubber string, if you have a rubber, you can take. So now if you have a rubber, you can see a rubber will be basically this much size. Is it yes or no, guys? Money rubber. Yes or no? Da? Yes, please respond. Yes. So let
Yes,
me
sir.
tell you, this is what the rubber, not eraser, normal rubber.
Rubber band, sir.
Yeah, rubber. Now, if we'll start stretching, then it will start stretching like this. Is it yes, guys? In both the sides, if you'll apply. Yes or no? Yes, please respond. Now,
Yes, sir.
I stretched it with the help of two sticks. Let me imagine. With the help of two sticks between them, I stretched it. So that at this situation, what is the energy possessed by the body? At this
Potential
potential energy. Now, if I'll release this, if I'll push the springs, then what is happening? The sticks, the spring, this rubber will fly away and will fall very far away from us. Is it yes or no, guys? Yes,
Yes, sir.
because here when it is stretched, it is stored with a potential energy. When it is released, it is trying to acquire its original state by converting potential energy into which energy, guys? By converting
Kinetic energy.
into kinetic energy. So these kind of energy, as I told you, spring, as I told you, wounded spring in inside our watch, next one caterpillar, next one this bow and arrow, and as well as normal stretched rubber band. Everything, if you'll notice, is something, some common thing, that is they're stretching. Stretching means what? Elasticity. Is it yes or no? Yes. So
Yes, sir.
yes, guys. So due to the stretching or elasticity, the body is acquiring its potential energy. So that is why these kind of potential energy we used to call as elastic potential energy. What we used to call, guys? What we used to call? What is this? Elastic potential energy. That is what you have to remember. So from this I can make, see, first case what I said, car is on our terrace. Car is on the hydraulic lift. In this case, due to the position, the energy is possessed by the body. Due to the position and working against what? Working against gravity.
Gravity.
So that is why these kind of energy we used to call as gravitational potential energy, and due to the stretching elasticity, that is called as elastic potential energy. So potential energy will be two types. What is that? Elastic potential energy, and the next one is what, guys? Gravitational potential energy. Everybody clear? Yes, that is what I say. So very important. So one is elastic potential energy, another one is gravitational potential energy. Are you clear, Maitreyan? And join fastly again meeting, please. Shruti, have you understand, Shruti?